Hey guys, Jeff aka Vega here. I'm doing a demo commentary, my first commentary for StarCraft 2. Um, this match was from Upper Diamond, rank 10 or so, and we're going to be looking at the early Siege Tank Marine push as Terran versus Protoss. So let's get started. I am the red Terran over here in the bottom right corner, and we've got, I have no idea what his name is, the blue Protoss in the bottom left corner. And this is a pretty solid opening against Protoss. You might even try it against Terran. I wouldn't go for it against Zerg though, just for the fact that Zerg has enough to overrun your tanks early on, whereas Protoss relies on fewer, more powerful units that the Siege Tank can serve apart. So we're going to do the pretty standard scout, obviously, first, and then this supply depot at 10 supply up here. And this build differs from a lot of opening builds in that you get a gas before you get a barracks. So as soon as you have 75 minerals after putting your gas down, or after putting your supply depot down rather, you're going to put your gas down, and then your barracks will just have to wait. And that's so that you can have enough gas to build your siege tank and tech siege mode right away. As soon as you hit that, as soon as you finish your barracks, you can usually drop the factory down right immediately after that. So here comes my barracks. It's a little delayed, obviously, but shouldn't be too bad. Again, this is the reason why you don't want to run this against Zerg, because you need to wall off that ramp and get some early infantry up to defend the Zergling push, or Baneling bust. But against Protoss it works pretty well, because Protoss doesn't have quite as much speed to rush you with. So, got a little scout going on here. This gets annoying. I hate it when Protoss players do this, especially when they're good at it. The Protoss here, my opponent is going for a 1-gate core, and then sort of a cheese I don't see very often. He immediately texts a Stargate for Void Rays and tries an early Void Ray push. Ends up not working too terribly well, but you'll see it actually would have worked pretty well if I hadn't gone quick siege tech, and you'll see that in a second. So I've got my factory going down here as soon as I hit 150 minerals on 100 gas, and you can see he's got his gateway up and his core's going down, and he's putting down his second gas as well. I actually don't have a Marine up yet, but I'm finally going to get one out here to take care of this probe here in just a second. But yeah, I'm just sort of in a holding pattern right now until the factory finishes and I can put that add-on down and get my siege tank in siege mode. Oh, also, somewhere, I didn't mention this, somewhere along the line you want to put down an orbital command for the mule drop and the scan. That's going to end up being really important later, because you can set your siege tanks in siege mode outside of someone's base and then scan on top of the platform to give you vision. As you can see here, the Stargate's going down for the Protoss. He's going to try an early Void Ray push, not quite quick enough, as you'll see, but once you finish your factory, your second gas goes up, and that is in case this game drags on. If you don't win with the initial tank push, you're going to tech to Banshees, Cloaked Banshees, for harassment as you expand. So you're going to try to take map control with the siege tanks sieged outside their base, and the Banshees for harassment, work or harass, whatever. So you can see I got my second gas. Generally I put 2 workers on it right off the bat because you don't need that much gas, and then 3 later on after you drop the starport, which you'll see in just a second. So I've got my siege tank is going to pop here in just a few seconds, and the push is going to consist of that 1 siege tank and 4 marines. I'm not sure if siege mode is quite done yet, but it's okay because it's generally you don't need it on the initial push. It's just for when you're trying to, if the initial push fails and you're trying to contain them outside their base, that's when you're going to need siege mode. So I'm going to go ahead and push here with that 1 tank and 4 marines up the map. As you can see over here, he has 2 stalkers and not much else, which is pretty dangerous as Protoss, especially playing against Terran, because they're usually going to try to rush you and disrupt you early. So I get supply locked because I'm not macroing very well, but I'm going to put down that extra supply depot and keep pumping out tanks and marines to reinforce the initial push. Now, as you can see, just 4 marines against 2 stalkers would not be a good match, but 4 marines in that tank, they just demolish it. He actually has a Void Ray out already, but my marines will chase that off as my tank goes straight for his workers. I'm also going to the void ray runs off, so I'm going to take out the pylon so he can't make more, but it's going to end up coming back here. And you can't see it on this view, but oh, there it goes. I've got another tank coming out, some more Marines, and as soon as the tank pops, I'm going to send that entire force over. Big shot on the workers right here. Ready? Boom! And that really hurt his economy. That actually comes into play later because he does fend off this initial tank with that void ray because he took out all my Marines, but he doesn't have enough money to continue holding me off. So that worker disruption is a huge thing. Not sure why those 2 Marines are standing there. I gotta figure it out later. There you can see the starport going down. The initial push was pretty successful, actually. I took out a lot of his workers and not his whole army, but just to be safe, I want to make sure I'm still teching up so that if he somehow manages to continue to hold me off, I can expand and go into Banshee harass. Also Vikings for the Wooders. But this game's going to end pretty shortly here because I push up with my next force of 2 tanks and about 6 Marines. And he's got the 1 void ray. It's going to come over here and try to take out my Stargate, but meanwhile he's losing his base. So I think I just found those 2 Marines over there. So he's gonna concede pretty quickly here. Alright, so there you have it. The initial Marine tank push against Protoss. Like I said, you probably only want to try this against Protoss, maybe also against Terran, depending on what you see them building. If they're going, siege expand or some other fast expand build, this can be pretty effective just because you have your siege tanks before them. Against Zerg, I would not want to try this. I'd go triple racks instead. I'm sure I'll have a demo commentary on that one coming out soon on that build. But there you have it, and try it out. Good luck.